Everything you've heard about Brahmacharya is incomplete. You've been told it means no sex, no relationships, becoming a monk and renouncing everything. But that's just the surface, and focusing only on the surface is exactly why most people fail. Today, I'm revealing 7 rules about Brahmacharya that nobody tells you. Rules that come directly from the Bhagavad Gita. Rules that actually make this practice possible and powerful. Whether you're a student, a professional, or someone seeking self-mastery, these rules will change how you see everything. Rule number 1. Brahmacharya is not just about physical abstinence. This is where most people get it completely wrong. They think Brahmacharya means avoiding physical intimacy, so they do that and then spend all day consuming stimulating content, fantasizing, and letting their senses run wild in every other direction. That's not Brahmacharya. That's just physical suppression with mental chaos. In chapter 2, verse 58 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains what real control looks like. One who is able to withdraw the senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. The tortoise withdraws all its limbs, not just one. Brahmacharya means mastery over all senses. What you watch, what you listen to, what you consume, where your attention goes. Your eyes are a sense. What are they consuming daily? Your ears are a sense. What conversations and content are they absorbing? Your tongue is a sense. What foods and words pass through it? Someone who avoids physical acts but spends hours scrolling through stimulating content is not practicing Brahmacharya. They're just relocating their indulgence. True Brahmacharya is conscious control over every gateway to your mind. Rule number 2. Mental Brahmacharya is harder and more important than physical Brahmacharya. You can control your body through willpower, but the mind? The mind is a different battle entirely. You might not act on desires physically, but if your mind is constantly dwelling on fantasies, replaying images, creating scenarios, you're losing the energy you're trying to preserve. In chapter 6, verses 24 to 26, Krishna addresses this directly. One should engage in yoga with determination and faith, abandoning all material desires born of mental speculation. One should use the mind to control all the senses completely. Wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering nature, one must bring it back under the control of the self. The mind wanders. That's its nature. Krishna doesn't say your mind will never wander toward desires. He says, bring it back again and again. That's the practice. Most people focus entirely on external discipline. They set up rules, blockers, restrictions, but they never train the internal muscle. And when the external barriers fail, and they eventually do, there's nothing holding them together. Train the mind, watch where it goes, and gently, persistently, bring it back. That's real Brahmacharya. Rule number 3. Brahmacharya doesn't mean lifelong celibacy unless you consciously choose that path. This misconception stops many people from even trying. They think, I can't be a monk. I want a family someday. So Brahmacharya isn't for me. But traditionally, Brahmacharya was primarily for the student phase of life, the time when you're building yourself, developing focus, acquiring knowledge and skills. During this phase, sexual energy is redirected toward growth, toward learning, toward becoming someone capable of handling greater responsibilities. After this phase comes the householder stage, marriage, family, intimacy within commitment. The Bhagavad Gita itself supports this. Krishna doesn't ask everyone to become monks. He speaks to Arjuna, a warrior, a married man with responsibilities in the world. Brahmacharya in the householder stage means something different. It means moderation, fidelity, not being enslaved by lust even within a relationship. So if you're young and building your foundation, strict Brahmacharya accelerates your growth like nothing else. If you're in a relationship, Brahmacharya means conscious, controlled, loving expression rather than compulsive indulgence. Both are valid paths. The key is conscious choice, not unconscious slavery. Rule number 4. What you eat determines whether you succeed or fail at Brahmacharya. This rule is almost never discussed, but it's foundational. Your body and mind are connected. What you put into your body affects your mental state, your urges, your ability to control yourself. In chapter 17, verses 8 to 10, Krishna categorizes food into 3 types: Foods dear to those in goodness increase life duration, purify existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Foods that are too bitter, sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Food that is tasteless, stale, putrid, decomposed, and unclean is dear to those in ignorance. Foods in the mode of passion, overly spicy, stimulating, processed. They agitate the system. They increase restlessness. They make urges stronger and harder to control. Foods in the mode of ignorance, stale, processed, dead. They make the mind dull, foggy, unable to maintain discipline. But foods in the mode of goodness, fresh, wholesome, balanced. They calm the system. They give strength without agitation. They make self-control natural rather than a constant struggle. If you're eating junk, consuming excessive caffeine, loading up on stimulating foods, and then wondering why your urges are so strong, now you know. Brahmacharya starts on your plate before it reaches your mind. Rule number 5. You cannot succeed at Brahmacharya by just quitting something. You need something higher to move toward. This is why most attempts fail. People try to stop a behavior through sheer willpower. They focus entirely on what they're avoiding. And ironically, that focus keeps the desire alive. What you resist persists. In chapter 2, verse 59, Krishna reveals the secret. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste, one is fixed in consciousness. Higher taste. That's the key. You don't defeat lower desires by fighting them. You transcend them by finding something better. When your life has purpose, a mission, a vision, something you're building, sexual energy has somewhere to go. It transforms into creativity, into drive, into focus. But when life is empty, purposeless, boring, the energy stagnates. And stagnant energy seeks any outlet, usually the easiest one available. Ask yourself honestly, what are you channeling this energy toward? If the answer is nothing, that's your problem, not lack of willpower. Find your purpose. Build something meaningful. Serve something larger than yourself. When the higher taste arrives, the lower ones lose their grip automatically. Rule number 6. You will fail, and that's not the end of your practice. This might be the most important rule of all. Most people try Brahmacharya, fail, and conclude they're not capable. They give up entirely. But even Arjuna, the great warrior, the direct student of Krishna, expressed doubt about controlling the mind. In chapter 6, verses 33 to 34, Arjuna says, "O Krishna, this system of yoga which you have described appears impractical and impossible to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. The mind is restless, turbulent, strong, and unyielding. I consider it as difficult to control as the wind." Arjuna is saying, this seems impossible. The mind is like the wind. How can anyone control it? And what does Krishna reply in verses 35 to 36? "O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind. But it is possible by constant practice and by detachment. For one whose mind is uncontrolled, self-realization is difficult. But one whose mind is controlled and who strives by right means is assured of success." It is difficult. Krishna doesn't deny it. But it's possible through practice and detachment. Practice means you keep trying. You fail, you learn, you adjust, you try again. Detachment means you don't identify with the failure. You didn't become a failure because you failed. You're someone practicing a skill. Falling is part of learning. The only real failure is quitting entirely. Every master of self-control has a history of failures they don't talk about. What separated them from others isn't that they never fell. It's that they kept getting back up. So will you. Rule number 7. Brahmacharya is a tool for transformation, not the goal itself. Some people make Brahmacharya their entire identity. They count days like trophies. They feel superior to others. They become obsessed with the practice rather than what the practice is meant to achieve. This is ego wearing spiritual clothing. In chapter 6, verse 47, Krishna clarifies the true goal. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within, and renders loving service to me. That one is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. The highest yoga is not about how long you've been celibate. It's about connection with the divine, self-realization, becoming who you were meant to be. Brahmacharya is a vehicle, a powerful one, but a vehicle is meant to take you somewhere, not to be parked and admired. The energy you conserve through Brahmacharya should be flowing somewhere into your growth, your purpose, your spiritual evolution, your service to the world. If you're practicing Brahmacharya but becoming more arrogant, more judgmental, more obsessed with the practice itself, you've missed the point entirely. Stay humble. Remember why you started. Use the energy for something meaningful. That's when Brahmacharya becomes truly powerful. So let's recap these 7 rules that nobody tells you. 1. It's control of all senses, not just physical abstinence. 2. Mental mastery is harder and more important than physical discipline. 3. It's primarily for the growth phase, not necessarily lifelong. 4. Your diet directly impacts your success. 5. You need a higher purpose to channel the energy toward. 6. Failure is part of the journey, not the end of it. 7. It's a tool for transformation, not a trophy for your ego. Brahmacharya isn't about becoming less human. It's about becoming fully human, with all your energy available for what truly matters. Start where you are. Apply one rule at a time, and watch what becomes possible when you stop leaking your power. If this guide helped you understand Brahmacharya differently, subscribe to this channel and watch what's appearing on screen next.